you're going to be like, this is old news. I already know all of this. For some of you, it'll just be a nice reminder. And if there are things for you to add, please do. I just want to start by naming. So somatic vocabulary, you could call it that. You could call it felt sense vocabulary, a body vocabulary, the language of the body. There's so many ways to talk about the communications that our bodies are signaling to us all day, every day. And the sensations that we are firing all day, every day, the things that are happening in our bodies, they carry the wisdom of the past and everything we've ever experienced, and they carry the ability to connect right here and right now with the present moment. And they also inform how we move into the future. And so they're just magic. I mean, I'm a somatic psychotherapist. I'm fascinated by how the more we can sink and settle into this intimacy, really, with the language of our bodies, the more we are able to have capacity, the more we're able to understand what we want and what we need, the more we're able to connect with others and understand what they might want and need. And the list really goes on. So I find it, having a vocabulary around what are sensations, how do we name them, how do we find them, how do we describe them, to be such an incredibly important tool, skill set, theory, in supporting ourselves and our clients. It gives us the world, really. So also there's this learning where we go from thinking about our sensations and our bodies to experiencing the felt sense from the inside out. And there's an entire spectrum, and it doesn't matter where we are on this spectrum. With our clients, some of them might need to access the felt sense first through thinking and through going, what does my ankle feel like? From that kind of feeling like the outside in, or from just cognitively understanding the importance of coming into contact with our felt sense. You know this, you've been around me for a long time, that when we want to come into the felt sense, we have to do it slowly, especially for folks with trauma, because if we go too fast, when we come into the felt sense, it's like you get everything. You get the pleasant, you get the unpleasant, neither. And so we're welcoming the entire spectrum. So we have to be able to build the capacity to feel that. And part of how we invite that and do that with ourselves and our clients is we start building this somatic vocabulary, which helps us get curious together. One of my favorite somatic vocabulary words is numb, because for the longest time, I didn't realize that that was a sensation. I didn't know that that was something we could tune into and get familiar with and welcome and get curious about. So as we're building a somatic vocabulary, that's one of the first words I introduce to clients. And how I do this is I'll give them a menu. That's how they start building their vocabulary. Is, oh, I've never heard those words before. We didn't learn this stuff in school, right? So my care provider is showing me through telling me what my options are, or through accurate somatic reflection. We do this all the time in embodied coaching experience of, here's what I'm feeling, or here's what you might be feeling, this, or this. So we start saying our words. So they go, I didn't even know buzzing was a sensation in my body, or I didn't know flowing was something that I could feel from the inside out. Numb, never thought of my elbow as numb. Gut gnawing, people don't speak in this language unless you're in our circles. So starting by using options, menus, and reflecting our body sensations to them, or getting curious with them. Might it be this? Might it be that? I'm just checking my notes. One way I like inviting clients to start experiencing the body from the inside out is something really, really simple, like having them connect with their hand. and getting really mindful and having them just attempt to describe the sensations of their hand. It can be pretty neutral instead of going like, tell me about the sensations of your heart, right? Like that might crack someone open. It could be in a good way, but it could be really achy. So can you experience your hand from the inside out? And what are the sensations there? What's the temperature? Is there movement? Is there stillness? Lightness, heaviness? Is there a texture? Is it numb? So that's a way that you can start getting them very curious in a way that feels more safe. I use the term accurate somatic reflection a lot, and that is a term that is used, I think, by Diane Poole Heller mostly. She does a lot of attachment work, and it's something that happens with primary caregivers and infants. We don't learn what our somatic experience is and our emotional experience without the reflection of a secure, consistent, dependable, stable other. And so if you're a parent and you're going, oh, oh, you really have a tummy ache, huh? Oh, yeah, you're feeling joyful right now. And like you get that interaction and that feedback, you really start to learn, oh, that's this sensation, that's this emotion. A lot of people didn't get that. And so part of our work is offering the experience of accurate somatic reflection as much as we can so people can learn through us as that secure, dependable, stable other what it is that they're feeling. And it's the safety and the connection that helps them be able to tune in enough and go, huh, maybe I am. Maybe that is a sensation that's real for me right now. Interesting. When I'm inviting people into their sensations, I like to use the language which comes out of my Buddhist training. Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or is it neutral? Or neither? Because nothing's actually neutral. So pleasant, unpleasant, neither. If we even just start there as we're coming into the body, instead of getting super specific, like, is it searing? Is it like champagne bubbles? But really very, very broad with pleasant, unpleasant, neither. People can start tuning in a way that's more curious instead of judgmental. Because when it's pleasant or unpleasant, that's different than like, I hate this or I love this. It's a new perspective and a new orientation to getting curious around sensations. I said this earlier, but it's always important to say that as we're getting into the felt sense, titration and pendulation of like, I'm kind of outside, connecting out here where I'm comfortable, if that's someone's comfort zone. And then I'm going to touch in. And can I take just 3 breaths? What sensations are here? Maybe you find nothing, maybe you find something. And then I'm going to come back out here, take a rest, and then we pendulate back in. And maybe we start with 3 breaths, and then we move to 5, and then we move to 7. And that's titration, a little bit, one drop at a time of being able to stay with the curiosity around what is happening right here and right now. And with folks with trauma, I know you all know this because I say it all the time, but I like to really be specific and guide people to go, and what feels okay, or what doesn't hurt? Because a lot of people go in with the traumatized brain and look for what's wrong because that's their survival system trying to keep them safe. If I know what's wrong, I know how to get away from it. And so we have to wire in what's right, what's working, what's not painful, what's easeful, what doesn't hurt. And so a lot of people need directives when we're looking for sensations and how things feel. And then the last thing I just want to say before I give you an awesome list of sensations is the list of benefits I created, and I wanted to see if you wanted to add to it. So presence, when we can sit in the felt sense, noticing flowing, noticing cool air, noticing achy knee, noticing achy heart, uplifted, uplifted shoulders. I'm just checking out my own sensation. We have not only intimacy with ourselves, but intimacy with what is here and now in the present moment in a really sweet way. I love the phrase that presence equals love. So anytime we are paying attention in the present moment in a curious, non-judgmental way, we are inviting the experience of love. We're loving ourselves. We're here in this, connecting to this present moment from a state of love, which can grow and grow and grow the more we can tolerate being here in the felt sense with pleasant, unpleasant, and neither. We can expand feeling safe with pleasure the more we can titrate pleasurable moments, soothing moments, supportive moments. We feel safe enough to tolerate more and more of that, which when experienced through the felt sense, it's easier to stay connected to it in a sustainable long-term way because we have access to it in our bodies. It's not out there, it's in here. And I love that the more we learn a vocabulary, we have access to subtle and intense sensations and everything in between. So for me, for most of my life, only felt intense sensations. I was actually showing my friend Annika yesterday. We were laying naked out at the river, and my legs they have burn marks from not being able to feel my hot water bottle for years on my legs. And they're not bad burn marks, but it's like, oh yeah, that was me needing intense sensation to get resourced. And it's kind of like, it's like one of those, like, invitations for compassion, right? It's not like they're horrible, but like, look how much sensation I needed to be able to feel my body for so long. And that is really common for a lot of people. So when we can invite a broader vocabulary, we can start to go subtle sensations and start noticing sooner what we're feeling and how we're feeling it. And therefore hearing the cues of our body, what it's communicating to us. That's hot, get away from that. That's cold, move towards this. I'm hungry, food, I'm full, stop. So it can also be like survival needs, we have awareness. And then the more of a vocabulary we have, more subtle needs of what we want and need and desire and don't want throughout the day in our relationships and our work, etc. And then we can also tap into that when we're sitting with our clients as well. What might they be wanting? What might they be needing? And how can I help them open to knowing that as well? Connection with intuition. The more we're in our felt sense, the more we're connected to intuition. I don't see them as two separate things, actually. I think they're pretty close to the same thing. I wanted to talk about how we move towards, like, so I just copied and pasted a vocabulary. That's simple. We just keep growing our words as we're working with clients, use more, introduce more, do that in our own practices, just around like, how do we describe sensations? You could find lists everywhere on the internet and really study them. Is it flowing? Is it bubbly? Is it wobbly? Is it jangly? Is it gripping? Is it uplifting? Is it spacious? So that's the easy part, learning all of the possibilities and words. And then you could get creative and playful and make up your own as well. I'm really good at that. With introducing clients to the experience of noticing sensations, I like to start really simple. So I'll start with these 5 things: pressure, temperature, numbness. I always name numb because a lot of people feel shame if they don't feel anything. So then they're like, yes, celebration, I can feel numb. Lightness or heaviness. And so that we could just sit with even one of them with a client. Do you notice the contact between the surface of you and your like your seat and the chair beneath you, your feet and the earth beneath you? That's pressure. Temperature. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it cool? Is it warm? Numbness, lightness, heaviness, so a weight. Those can be easier to access. Some places that people, as they're working towards coming into the felt sense, that for a lot of people, but not everyone, feel more safe, are bottoms of the feet. So, hey, check out your feet. Do you feel how they connect to the ground? Do you notice the places they're not connected to the ground? That, and you could do this right now as I go through this list. The air on your face. Can you feel the air and the temperature of the air? Noticing the temperature of your hands and the sensation of the breath expanding or contracting in the chest or the nostrils. The seat. And for people who only feel pain, and there are a lot of people, I often say, how about the earlobes or the elbows? Is there any chance those just don't hurt? And some people will say, yes, they do. And we'll just keep looking. We'll just go, that is such good information, right? And there's no shame about it, but those are some good places to check. And I think that is pretty much all of what I wanted to say.